Hello everybody and welcome to my YouTube channel, Dream of Crafts. My name is Deanna and today we're going to be working on tutorial number 2 for my L and J wedding mini album. And we left off with finishing off our inside. Since then I have added double-sided tape on both sides of my hinges here, all 4 of them. So we're ready to put our pages on when those get done. I have additionally come in and found my center here and punched a hole with my We Are Memories Keepers. Yeah, We Are Memory Keepers crocodile. So I came down about an inch and then I just took my ruler and found the center of what this was, and it looks like about 2 5/8. No, yeah, 2 5/8. So we had 1 5/16. So, and then that was the center. And again, it's about an inch down. I just kind of eyeballed it, but it is about an inch down. I also found the center to my height, which we know our album is 10.5. So I come in 5 1/4, and I made a line with my pencil right in here. I did it a couple times just to get a nice straight line. And then I brought in my closure, the hook part. I lined that up. I got my hook out of the way. Let me zoom in here so you can see a little bit better what I'm talking about in this detailed area here. There we go. So I got the latch out of the way, and I kind of eyeball centered this with my pencil line here and brought that right up to the edge, held it with my finger, moved the latch out of the way, circled inside of there so I knew where my brads are going to have to go, came in with my eyelet, my punch, and punched 2 holes that are a nice size there for these the latch to go on. And we're going to have to do this side. So again, I've got my pencil line here, if you can see it. I've already done it. And I am going to temporarily attach this. We'll remove it when we add our paper and stuff, but I want to temporarily attach it so I get my other piece on there correct. Now this specific latch was a Prima. It was a Prima latch. So that is the brand. When I go to put this on permanently, then I will add some additional glue to help hold that better. But for right now, we're just going to put the brads in and hold it temporarily while we get this adjusted. I'm going to grab a couple clips too here to help hold that together so I have my actual fingers to do some work. All right. So I want to bring that up to like exactly where I want it to close. And I'm going to clip this on there. And we're going to clip this on here. There we go. Now my hands are free. And I'm going to bring this up like that. And I want to make sure that that is going to work. I think it will. Okay. So let's get that out of the way. And I can see under here. I can see my line, so I can bring this in here just straight down. It's also going to line up with this one here. See if you can see the edges of this one. These edges got to line up. And I don't want it underneath there. I want it to just be about lined up with it. So I'm going to hold that just like that. Make some pencil marks. I think we're good. Undo my clips here. And we're going to come in, and I'm using my smallest one And I've got to get where I can, let me turn the light on again. See if you got that. See if that'll help. I got to kind of turn this sideways so you can see, but so I can see too. I got to darken those spots so I can see them better. So I'm going to really highlight them. So once I get it underneath there, it's harder to see. So, okay, now I can see, and I don't know how much you can see, but this is what I'm doing. And I'm using the tiny one. I've got to hold it so I can see it here in a second. There we go. And then there we go. If they're off a little bit, it's not going to matter that much because there is a little room there. All right, so now let me put these brads in and see what we can do here. All right. Okay. Like I said, we'll be using additional adhesive. It's probably glossy accents. I usually like to use that. And then I'll put that on and let it sit overnight so that it has time to dry before we mess with it. Okay, this is just our basic. Like I said, it's not adhered down yet. Let me clip this again so it holds it for me. And I can kind of hold these. And I think we will be good. Once those are glued down good, that's going to hold in place just like that. It will be straight, of course. But, yep, I think that's perfect. So we can undo that. We can actually take these back off since we know what we're doing. Like I said, after the video, then I will adhere those on with some glossy accents. Put the brads through, of course. And then by the time we do our next video, those will be really dry and we won't have to worry about them moving around. But we've got to do some more things here first. But we've got our holes. We're ready to go. All right. So even though I want to use these decorative papers, I've got some blues and stuff in here too, some different ones. I want to be more subtle on the outside. So what I've decided on, because it's going to get decorated too, so I've decided on these, and these are from Kaiser Craft, and it's PS208, and it's called Allure, and it is like velvet. It's Victorian style kind of, but it's raised velvet, and I thought that was nice since it's got birds and just, you know, I just thought that was nice and subtle for the outside cover here. And like I said, we will decorate and embellish that with other things. But for a base, I wanted it to be more subtle. So I have cut 2 pieces at 9 inches wide by 10 1/4 inches high. And we are going to use walnut stain. And we're going to go around smudge because we want to bring in those. Now it does have a little bit of that already on there naturally, but when I cut off, I cut some of that off. So we're just going to re-ink the whole thing with this color. This is the color we're going to use throughout the book. Okay, let's go ahead and do our other big one here a second. And I've got some other decorative elements that I'm going to use. Let's say pick. I I have a frame I think we're going to put on the front. I just have some other things I'm working on gathering to decide what we're going to do. Now, for the sunflowers on the front, I'm going to have to make those because I don't have any store-bought ones. So we will make those together. I do have the dies, I think, for that. But I do want to add some flowers on the front for sure. Now, like the smaller roses and smaller flowers and stuff, I have lots of those. So we'll just pick out some ones that will coordinate with this and figure that out later. But right now, let's go ahead and put these on. Now they do have a direction, so because of the birds. So let's go like that. Okay. You want that one in the front or this one in the front? Now let's do this one in the front. Now, as you notice, I've got a little bit more of an edge here. Let me put this here. A little bit more of an edge. We're going to zoom back in, or out, I mean, I should say. There we go. So I have more of an edge here than I do here. But I believe what we're going to do is take this burlap with the pearls on it. It's really pretty. Either this one or I have some burlap with lace. And I think we're going to bring that in for our edge there. But I'm not 100% sure. But it will be some type of decoration covering these corners. But this is what I thought, but I haven't decided 100% yet. But I want to get these on because it's going to be easier now before we start building to get this done than to try to do it when it's all put together. So let's go ahead and get this started. Get this out of the way. Now we're just going to use our regular art glitter glue. I'm going to use. If you would like to use tape, of course, you can use tape. If you want to use tape and glue, by all means, use tape and glue. This is pretty thick decorative cardstock here. It's pretty nice. Pretty nice. Ooh. All right. So we're going to pay attention to our bottom, top, and right side here, because that is where we've got to be the most accurate. Okay. All right. I'm going to be gentle because I don't want to ruin that velvet on there. So nice and gentle. I'm just gently pressing around. I don't want to, because it is raised, so it is dimensional, of course. And it's just kind of a nice subtle paper. So let me bring that up there. You can see it again. All right. For our first spine here, it's our narrowest one. Let me double check, make sure I didn't get them. Yep. So this is 2 3/8 wide by 10 1/4. And that is going to go right in there. And I think I'm going to put this together to put this one on, just to make sure it's centered nice. Again, I'm going to use my clips here, just to keep these elements out of my way. There we go. All right. And yes, that's my top. That's my up. My bird's upside down. I don't want my birds upside down. Let's make it go a little bit more. There we go. All right. Same thing. This one's 2 3/8 by 10 1/4. go. And again, I'm just going to gently push down on that. Just to make sure that it's set nice. There we go. We've got front there. Let's go ahead and get the back there. All right, and like this. And we're going to do the same. I'm going to stick closer to, I guess it really doesn't matter because, well, if I don't want anything on that front, I might. Okay. So we're going to stick closer to this side and further away from this side like we did the, because if we wrap that, then that will actually be the back of the album. So this will be the front. So I don't know if I'll do ribbon or burlap on both of the spines or just the one. It's not something I've decided yet. Sometimes while I'm building and doing stuff, I'll do those things while I'm thinking about it. I'll try different things until I find something that I really like before I make my final decision. So that's kind of where I'm at right now, is I'm not 100% sure exactly how I want to do it. So we're going to stick closest to the left-hand side and leave more room on the right-hand side. Because if we do something, it will be on that side. Oopsie. Come on. All right, so I'm going to put this down here a second. And I'm just kind of reaching under there and pressing. I don't want to press on the top of the book and start bowing it. Okay. Now I'm going to hold underneath here and then just gently press this. I don't want it to slide. I don't want to pull on it so it's sliding away. There we go. All right. So as you can see, we've got the bigger band here and the bigger band here. And I just think that's nice and subtle. All right. And then our next piece is 2.5 by 10 1/4. 2.5 by 10 1/4. All right. And this is going to be what is the front of our book. If it was in the bookshelf, this is the part you would see. And so we're going to have a charm dangle of some kind coming out of there. That's what that hole is for. It's for probably have like hearts and keys and I don't know, whatever we can find to decorate it with. Is that what we're going to do? Just a variety of things. Now he's in the military, so maybe I can find a charm or something to coordinate with that. Have to look around. That might be something cool to add to it. Okay, so there's that. And then we got our last part here. There we go. So I'm just going to bring this open just like this, so we can get to it nice and easy. And then this piece was 3 by 10 1/4. So just like so. Right? Make sure I got my birds going in the right direction here. Just double checking. Ah! A little glue on my shirt here. A little glue on the shirt. And on my arm. Okay. So let's get this there. Perfect. There. Nice and subtle, and we'll decorate that up so it doesn't look too, I don't know, honestly, too vintagey for her. I am not exactly quite sure, you know, all of her tastes or anything, so I'm just trying to be as light-handed with what I think is possible. I don't want to impart what I like for her because I don't know if she'd like that. So, all right, so now I'm going to come in and poke my holes back in here so I know where they are from the back side, just like that. And again, I'm not going to put on the closure yet because I want to wait until they're dried on. So yeah, we've got our holes punched back through and the hole there, so we know where that one is. And that is going to get one of these. It's bigger than a Tim Holtz kind. It's I order them from a specialty shop. So, all right, now I did have these corners here, and I was thinking about doing those on here, but I'm not sure if I can get them to press down far enough. But I did like that decorative element down there. I don't know if you can see them. Nice, protect the corners there. So I'm not quite sure. I'm kind of still debating on that, but I have time. Anyway, let's go ahead and start building some pages. And we're going to set this aside. Let that be. Let it dry. Okay, let's get all of this out of the way. So for the pages, I started out with a full pack of 50 sheets of 8.5 by 11. This, I believe, is from Joann's. Yes, I ordered this from Joann's. So started out with 50 sheets. I've had a couple miscuts on pages for things that I tried that I didn't like. So I think I've used all but about 13 so far. So almost a full pack. And just to let you know, I believe with what I have here and the couple I figured that I had mistakes in, it was 13. So far, other than little tiny 1-inch pieces, these are my scraps. So not too bad. Not too bad. Most of the little tiny 1-inch strips, because I've got so much white cardstock for things like hinges and stuff if I need them when I build boxes and stuff. I've got plenty of those in my stash for scraps. So I've just been throwing anything 1 inch or less away, but there's not a ton. Literally, this is just about all my scraps from the white so far. So it's not too bad. Not too bad, not too bad. All right, let's go ahead and get our pages here. I'm going to flip this over because I work upside down. First, let's go ahead and build a tunnel together. Now, this is actually for number 4, but I'm going to carefully remove my tunnel. All right, so we have our tunnels. With my directions here. Our tunnels are, I got 3 pages of notes. 10, you need 4 10 inches high by 8.5 inches wide, and you need 4 11 inches high by 8.5 inches wide. On your 11-inch side of your 11 by 8.5 inch piece, you're going to score a 1/2 inch on each end. Now, if I'm doing just a 1/2 inch, I always rotate my paper and my scoreboard. It's just a habit I have. If you want to do it at a 1/2 inch and at 11 inches, by all means, go ahead. But I've found I have better luck when I rotate it. So that's just a personal preference. So we have burnished these, folded and burnished them. Now I did notice that this paper pack, now I don't know if they're all that way. I can probably stack them up and see. Yes, this other pack's going to be the same. These are running about a 1/16 of an inch, maybe a little more, longer than 11 inches. So that threw me off when I was making my tunnels, because I thought, why is that not lining up right? Why do I have extra room? Well, that's why, is because it's longer. So when you do your score, your 1/2 inch, it leaves that extra, and I will show you. I will line this up here, and you can see, I hope you can see, I have a 1/16 of an inch over here. This is 10 inches. This is supposed to be 10 inches, but it ends up being 10 and a 1/16. So that threw me off. I'm just working with it rather than cutting them all down. I'm just working with it, just so you know, you might run into something like that someday, and it's like, what is going on? So then when I measured it, it was like, oh, I'm not going crazy. It is wrong. So, and I had bought one time from Hobby Lobby, and I don't remember even what color it was. I think it was just whiter, but it was the 12 by 12 cardstock, and the whole package was crooked, cut crooked. So every time I would go to cut a piece, my cuts were crooked. So I am cutting and cutting and cutting and cutting and thinking, what in the heck am I doing wrong? I thought my trimmer was bad. And when I actually held the paper up and looked at it better, I could see that it actually was cut wrong. So every time I cut it, it just stayed wrong. So you have to be aware that sometimes you get things like that. And before you think you've gone totally crazy, double check the lengths and the squareness of things you're working with, because it will drive you batty. It will drive you batty. And yes, I have the same jewelry on and the same shirt on from the video number 1, because I'm doing it one right after the other, so I can get them all done. All right, so that is our tunnel. And this cardstock, I believe, is 65 pound weight. Yes, it's 65 pound weight, so it's a nice weight for pages and stuff. I'm going to stick this back here and these back on there. These are number 4s. So they're going to go to the bottom side. And whoopsie. Our next thing we're going to do is, inside of each of our tunnels, we're going to create, instead of just a tag, we're going to make a little booklet to go in. So I have gotten 4 or 3 of these done. We're going to do one together. So you need some measurements. you need 2 pieces of 8.5 by 11. You are going to cut them down to 9 7/8 high. This one here stays 8.5. You are going to score at 3/4 of an inch and 1 inch. That's going to give you a 1/4 inch gusset with a 1 inch hinge attachment. Okay. This piece here is cut down to 7.5 inches. So 7.5 wide by the 9 7/8 high. Okay. We're going to attach the 7.5 to our 1 inch hinge. It just gives it, this 1 inch gives it just a little bit more stability than a 1/2 inch hinge. And, you know, I didn't have to cut the paper down and throw that away. So I'd rather use the little bit more stability and not throw that little 1/2 inch away. So I'm going to come in here and we're going to attach this right to there. We're not going to go over our score line there. There we go. So now we have a little booklet with a 1/4 inch. That's it. And then when we slide this in there, then it'll fit nicely over top of our flips and stuff. Okay. There we go. So as you can see, here's our tunnel booklet. So I'm going to slide that out. And we're going to take off our paper clip. And I'm going to remove these off to the side. Okay. All right. So those are number 4s. Those are the last. These are number 3s, 2s. And sometimes when I've got a stack of them like this, I will number them in the order that they've got to be put on. All right. So for this is our tunnel. And because it's not square, I know that it's run in the right direction. But if you were working with something that's 8 by 8 or 9 by 9 or 10 by 10, always check to make sure your tunnel is running in the right direction. For this piece, you need 10 inches high by 8.5 inches wide. You are going to score at a 1/2 inch and 5/8 of an inch. Now, I would score on this side, but because I wrote this way, I have to flip it. So, or my right upside down. This is going to get attached on that 1 inch hinge there on the right hand side of your page, your tunnel, whatever you want to call it. And this is how I typically do my pages. Not always, but how I typically do them is I will call them 1-1. So page 1, side 1, 1-2, page 1, side 2, 2-1, 2-2, 2-3, and so on and so forth. So it gives you kind of a... Now because this is 9 7/8, I'm going to have about a 1/16 of an inch at the top and the bottom. And I do that just so I don't have a lot of rubbing and stuff when things are opening and closing. Okay. There we go. Bring our gusset back in there. Again, that's an 1/8 of an inch gusset. There we go. Now side 2 here. Now this one was 10 inches high. It should be 9 7/8. So they cut it 9 7/8. I believe I did. Let me check. I think I wrote 10, but I think I did 9. Nope, this one is 10. Well, this is 10. Okay. This is 10. 10. Where did I get 9 7/8? Maybe the last thing. Anyway, 10 inches high by 8.5 wide, score at a 1/2 inch and 5/8 inch. That attaches to the right hand side. 10 inches high by 7 1/8 inch wide, you're going to score at a 1/2 inch and 5/8 inch. That is going to get attached on your 1/2 inch hinge part on the left hand side. Got some tractors outside. I don't know if you can hear them or not. A little bit noisy. Not too bad. All right. So the reason I have a little extra room there is because my paper is longer. So that's why I have that. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and get this down there. Perfect. Let's bring our gusset back in there. All right. So this is what we have so far. This is going to be in here. This is going to be out here. Now, on to this. I'm going to flatten this out so my gusset doesn't get smashed. We are going to add, we're going to take an 8.5 by 11. We're going to cut it at 6.5 inches wide. And then that's on the 8.5 inch side. On the 11-inch side, we're going to cut it at 5.5 inches. Then we're going to score at 1/2 inch and 9/16. So you're going to do 2 of those. You're going to have 2 from your 11-inch side cut at 5.5. Okay. We're going to have one that is flipping up and one that is flipping down. This is going to be, I wanted to make as much room for her and him for pictures. There's not a ton of pockets in this. I seem to lean away from a lot of pockets. For albums that I want a lot of pictures in. I love the looks of the pockets and the tags, and they're cute, but for some things I just want room for a lot of pictures. Flip up, this one is the same. It's going to be a flip down. All right. There we go. Sometimes it gets hard seeing color on color when we're doing these. And when you put that extra little, even though it doesn't seem like much, that extra little 1/16 of an inch gusset, so you think, well, I'll bother with a 1/16 of an inch. Well, for one, once you start putting your cardstock on here and they get a couple pictures in there, that's going to fill that in nicely, and so you're not going to feel like you're stressing joint. And it gives me just a little tiny bit of a difference here, so you can reach in and put those up nicely. These are a beautiful size. Once we get our decorative cardstock on there, you'll still be able to see a nice area of it, or you can drop it down and have, if they want to drop the picture down further, they'll have room for a little bit of journaling on the top, the bottom, I just figured that would be real nice. Okay, so this flips open. This flips open. Our next 2 pieces are going to go on the inside. I wanted to do those last because I want them riding on the top of these 2 hinges that we glued down. So we need them 8.5 inches wide. Actually, I went 8 3/8. So I cut these down 1/8 of an inch. So 8, and that's just so that I got room here and I'm not squishing up against those gussets. So take an 8.5 inch piece, cut it down to 8 3/8 wide. On your 11-inch side, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to cut it down at 5.5 inches. You're going to score at 1/2 inch and 9/16. Okay, 1/2 inch and 9/16. And these are 1/2 inch and 9/16 also. Same. One flips up, one flips down. They're just longer. Just using a bit more of the 8.5 inch paper width. There we go. Bring that down, and I want to center that. I do not want that messing with my score lines there. Okay. And we're just going to gently press that. Okay. And we're going to do the same thing with this one. I want to make sure my gusset's out of the way. that gusset will automatically, when we start adding paper and stuff on it, will automatically readjust itself as needed. All right. I'm going to come right up to the top here. Again, I don't want to mess with those gussets. I want this to line up nicely with each other. And we've got a little tiny gap there again, perfect for being able to lift that nicely. Perfect. That is all there is to it. That is page, oops, this goes under here. That is page 1-1. Nice and simple. All right, page 1-2. Now, I have to figure out what I'm doing here because I don't remember. Oh, yes. Okay. So we have, you need to cut 5 for each side at 5.5 by 8.5. So you're going to go the full width. So take your whole 8.5 inch paper and cut it in half at 5.5 inches. Okay. Then you're going to, you need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Score your, on your 5.5 inch side, score it 1/2 inch. Okay. This is going to be one of those pull flips. So this one's already glued together. So you are actually going to need 5 sheets of 8.5 by 11 to do this. And with this 5 sheets, you will get 2 sets. Okay. So let's go ahead and build our other set. So we want to start with our 1/2 inch gusset facing down. Okay. I've got it down on my left hand side. I'm going to take my next piece and my 1/2 inch hinge is going to be placed on the right hand side of this. Okay. Again, if you want to use tape, some people like tape because they think it's faster and easier. So whatever your preference. So I'm going to line this up down in my right hand corner there. Make sure my edges are lined up nice. Perfect. Give it a good press. And check. There we go. Looks good. Next one, I'm going to put my hinge on my left hand side here. So we're just going to flip it back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I'm just double checking to make sure. Is that right? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Just double checking. It's been a couple days since I prepped these. Again, I'm going to line this up. Make sure that nice and straight. Okay. There we go. So here's my piece here. Our next one we're going to attach to the right hand side here. And that's all there's going to be to this page here. We're going to line this up. Bottom sides. Make sure we're good. Nice and perfect. There we go. Okay, perfect. All right, and then our last one is going to be attached to the left side there again. And then we can attach these inside of our book and we'll be good inside of on our page. Again, we're going to line those up, making sure everything's squared and even. Okay. Make sure it's down good. There we go. All right. So now, as you can see, if you pulled out, so you'll be able to either look at these one page at a time like that, or this way, or open it this way, or this way. Now this is quite a bit of real estate for a small area, which makes it nice. Now here again, plenty of room for a photo and journaling. So, and I think this is a 5x7 card, so probably could even cut down a 5x7 if you wanted to and get it on there. I don't know what size this one is. What is this one? This one's 4x6. So, yeah. All right. So let's go ahead and bring this in. We're going to attach one going up and one going down. So go ahead and get those out of our way. The less we have in our way, the less we have to worry about it being crooked. The more we have in our way, the less likely we're going to be able to see. So we got those. I'm going to bring that right up to the top edge there. Make sure it's lined up along the edges too. Here and there. Give it a good press. There we go. Put it together. I'm going to check it. There we go. Perfect. All right. Then we're going to do the same thing, only we're going to attach it to the bottom. So we're going to get those out of our way. Get our glue on there. All right. Okie doke. Now let's go ahead and line these up at the top. And go along the edges there. Get that all lined up nice. Perfect. That up. Looks good. There. So you see? And then I haven't decided what kind of attachment I'm going to close these with. Probably maybe just a string. Not sure. I think we will stop there for today. And the next time we get together, we will do pages 2 and 3 for sure. And depending on how fast it goes, maybe page 4 too, if we can get it in. So as always, thank you for joining in, and I appreciate you following along. If you're a subscriber, I want to take time to thank you very much for subscribing. It means a lot to me. If you're not a subscriber, please consider doing so at this time. You go down below there, you can hit the red subscribe button. It will pop up. If you hit that bell, you can be notified each time I put up a new video. And as always, until the next time, I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.